Welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. This is where we answer all of your questions about puppyhood. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Sparky from the Puppy Academy. We're excited you're here. And now let's get to the show.
Welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. I am Bethany. Sparky is out today, so you're stuck with just me, but I'm going to get to as many questions as I can. So if you guys have a question, please put the age and the breed of the dog. And then if you'd like to submit a question to try to for us to answer it on the show, you can just direct message us. And then if you're commenting on a video on YouTube especially, you can ask questions through there as well. Oh, and this is episode 158. I can't believe how far we are. Okay. I am going to start with a potty training question that we had on how to train your puppy to use a potty pad was the video that we were doing. And Pamela says, I love all the training and advice. Thank you. I have a puppy that just sits or lies down on the pad. He hasn't gone in hours. I want to play with him so bad. He's wasting all of this play and free time, activity time being put back in the crate. Please tell me this gets better. Okay. I have a couple of tips for you, Pamela. One is I would do maybe a bigger potty pad area where the puppy can kind of move around a little bit. So if you're doing like one puppy pad, maybe do 3, even 4. I don't have the age, but the younger the puppy, typically the more puppy pads you want, like puppy pad space. And then it's really ideal to put like a fence, around that. That's like the perfect scenario. You can get like a cheap metal fold fence on Amazon and do 4 puppy pads. That way there's a little bit more movement or more room to move around. But honestly, it also sounds like your puppy may not need to go yet. So this is what I would do is let's say you're doing an hour and a half in the crate. Maybe you got a 10-week-old puppy, hour and a half to 2 hours in the crate. Maybe go ahead and up it about 20 to 30 minutes and see if that works. And then so that's one tweak is just up your time a little bit and see if that helps. Then the other thing is sometimes puppies do need a little bit of movement in order to get their system going. And this is a tricky part. I might play a little bit of fetch or do a little bit of training with the puppy outside. And if you can't do it outside, do like 4 to 5 minutes inside. That's it. And then back on the training pad. So let's say that you've done this rotation of puppy pad crate like 2 or 3 times. And you're like, man, I'm really pretty sure my puppy needs to go. Ideally, work with them outside for 4 to 5 minutes and then give them another chance. If you can't do it outside, which I'm assuming you can't since you're using puppy pads, try it inside, but make sure that you do it on the tile floor in the kitchen, right? And then if they have an accident after 3 minutes, then they need just a little bit of movement. And so it's going to kind of educate you about what that puppy needs in order to be successful. So maybe they need just a few minutes of let's go work, like 2 minutes of let's go work, and then back on the puppy pad for 2 minutes. Okay. Then they go pee. Then you can do your regular routine. So you're going to have to fine tune a little bit and find out that little piece that's missing to get to know your puppy a little bit better to see what they need. Maybe they just can hold it longer, or maybe they, need a little bit of movement, and you won't know how much movement until you find out. And honestly, they have an accident, and that's okay. It's just giving you information about what they need. So hopefully that helps you kind of play around with that a little bit. Okay. I think I got a question on here.
Oh, from Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram. John Snow. Oh, I remember John Snow. My puppy started peeing on the dog bowls. Anything to change that? Not sure why our puppy does that. He's a Havanese and he's 10 months old. That sounds like potentially marking to me. So Jon Snow is a male, and so I'm wondering if he's actually lifting his leg. Even if he's not lifting his leg, it could still be a marking behavior. So a lot of times they'll mark beds, they'll mark bowls that aren't theirs, especially. Occasionally they'll even mark something that is theirs, just to tell the other dogs, this is mine. And That's what it sounds like to me. What I would do, you're not going to love this answer. This is so hard. Potty training stuff is so hard. But what I would do is the only option you have is to go back a few steps on structure to prevent it from happening when you're not watching. And then when you're watching, it's a little bit of a setup. And so you've got the bowls there. He's either dragging around the leash, or you could try a pet corrector. Pet corrector makes noise. It swishes out air. It goes like that. And so what I would do is when he went around the other dog's bowls, I wouldn't wait for him to pee necessarily. I would wait until he got into sniffing them, and I'd go, no, and I say no first, do the short squirt while I'm standing up, walk over, make him get back, and then take him outside to pee immediately. That would be kind of something I would play around with, but then you've got to have more structure when you're not watching him. That's critical. Otherwise, this will not work. He'll just learn to do it when you're not around. And that can even happen when you're doing everything correctly. So that would be my suggestion, and to really keep an eye on that and give him a few extra potty breaks as well. The reason I'm adding in a no and a pet corrector squirt, when we have said you do not correct puppies for pottying in the house. So I just want to be clear. The reason I'm adding in a no, when Sparky and I have said before not to do that, is because this is a 10-month-old fully potty trained dog. So we're no longer potty training this dog. This dog is potty trained and has developed a bad marking habit. And so we're going after the marking habit. We have to tweak some other things too. You can't just say no and use pet corrector and it work. You have to tweak some other things like taking him out a little bit more and a little bit more structure. But that's why. So just to be clear, he's not potty training anymore. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. I got some questions here. NGLA Kim. We'll go with that. 12-week-old toy poodle. So really small, young puppy. That matters. Age really matters, and breed matters a little bit. It used bumping for bites, but she starts coming at you, attacking even more. Please help. Sometimes the bites include growling and seems aggressive. Okay. So here's the thing. We do bump dogs. Like you'll see us on the show sitting here, like just kind of bumping a dog off a little bit that's being a little bit too pushy. You've seen balance trainers in the past, very famous balance trainers in the past, do a lot of like bumping and knock it off with their hands. In my experience, that often does not work very well for the owners unless they have done it from the moment they brought their puppy in the house. So what happens is if you've brought your puppy in the house and then 2, 3, 4 weeks later, now you're trying to implement this boundary, the puppy doesn't believe you. And I'm not trying to be mean, but you don't have believability. They don't believe you. And because they're just basing things off of habit, right? And so they're coming back at you because they don't think you're serious. And then it feels like you're challenging them. So they rise to the occasion. And what I would say is if that 12-week-old puppy were to play with an excited 10-week-old puppy that's a little bit submissive, but really bitey, your 12-week-old puppy would bite harder. And then the 10-week-old puppy would get frustrated and bite back, still play, but getting intense. And then your puppy would rise to the occasion, challenge them back, and then you have a squabble. That's how a lot of squabbles end up, happening with dogs, especially puppies, adolescent puppies, especially. And so you have a puppy with the temperament of like trying to one up you, which is a really natural thing for some dogs. So you need more leverage. You can't just bump a puppy that is invading your space and biting you if sometimes you represent excitement when they see you. If you walk into the room and they go, yay, and run up to you and you pet them, you represent excitement. They're basically giving you an obedience command. Pet me. They rush up to you excited, jump up on you or nudge you, and you're petting them. So they're kind of giving you the obedience command, pet me. And if you're reinforcing that, but then at another time you're like, no, don't do that, my point is try to make sure that your approach in training is also balanced. You can't just be balanced on one aspect of things and expect that puppy, to just follow through the way we say. So that's one part of it, is make sure that your relationship is balanced. You can be excited with your puppy, but you need to be the one to create the excitement. Your puppy's nice and calm, and then you go and get a toy, and you're like, puppy, come, let's go, let's have some fun. And then, okay, we're all done now, enough. Toy goes away, calm your puppy back down, and then have rest time again. You're in charge of the emotion, right? Your dog isn't in charge of the emotion. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is, like I said before, this is really common. Even if you're doing everything right, you just have a pushier, stronger-willed puppy, totally fine. Don't use your arms, because it just don't do it. There are dogs I've come across that I don't even have a previous relationship with, puppies. And I'm like, hey, knock it off. And then they do zoomies and come back and try to bite me. So those puppies they're a little extra. Isn't that like the new young term? They're extra? I think so. They cringe.
I think you're a couple of years late on the answer.
And cringe is the new one, right? Cringe. Oh, okay, I don't know. I try. I'm like almost 40. I'm trying. But anyway, they're extra, okay? And so when you come across that, you want to have a leash on your puppy, just dragging around a cheap nylon leash, cut the loop off the end so they're not, snagging it on stuff and you're having to get up. But that way, when you come across a situation where they're being intrusive and rude, you need to be able to de-escalate them efficiently and without being combative, without, what's the word I'm looking for? Confrontation. You want to de-escalate them without being so confrontational. And the way that you do that is, let's say that my puppy comes up, jumps up here on the couch and I pet them and they start mouthing me and I say no, and then it escalates really quick to like nipping, and then they're getting like pushy and even, like you said, maybe a little growly. I want to be able, even before it escalates to that, I want to be able to just pick up the leash, not right by their neck, like not right here, like a little bit far from where their head is, because grabbing right by the neck is emotional to them and it's confrontational. So right there, I'm going to go, no, I'm going to do some pressure off the couch. If it's the couch, I'm going to lead them off the couch. Then I'm going to stand up if I need to. And my bumping into them, if they like jump up on me and invade my space again, is a leg movement instead of a wimpy arm that's kind of like, meh. And so you're actually going to maybe walk into them with a little leash pressure out and away to help them learn to back off. Now, they already know how to back off. If you were a dog, they would know what that means. But since you're a human, it takes some practice for them to have the same understanding of body language. But they do know it. They do understand it when it comes from another dog. So we're just transferring it to a human, and the leash can be helpful. And if they really escalate, you just do a little leash pressure, calm down. When they calm down, you relax the leash. Don't lift them off the ground. It's just a little bit of leash pressure. And then if they get excited again, calm them down. Now, one more thing, you need to teach place. You need to teach place, and you need to teach them how to reset themselves. Like if they step off place, move in, say no, and they can reset themselves on place. Once they put all these pieces together, that's when you get that harmonious home that you're looking for. Okay, let me check this.
Got a TikTok question.
Can you read it?
My puppy is reactive and he barks at dogs a lot. Strangers, not much. Any advice?
Okay, so I need age and breed. So if you could just tag back in, and then I'll answer that question. It's a good question, a good hard question. So I'm happy to, but please give me age and breed. All right, Kendall says, how do I teach my puppy that nothing is okay and being subtle when having a guest over or just in general? Kendall, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you mean.
She has another question further up.
Oh, okay.
So I think it goes
To do nothing is what we want at some times. You got to practice it when it's easy. So that's a great question. I'm glad Ricky saw that you had tagged back. It's a great question. You have to practice it when it's easy. So you teach place command. Place break, place break. Place means go to your bed, lay down, stay. We do have an online school that goes over, it's literally how to get the calm family dog, like how to work up to getting the calm family dog. And you can check it out on thepuppyacademy.com. It goes through all of the stuff, but I'll give you the quick breakdown. You got to teach a place command. and place break, place break. Then you got to teach them how to stay on place, then relax on place, and practice it every day when it's easy. And then your spouse or friend or roommate just walks through the room. Can he do that? Like, check. Can I roll a ball? Not throw a ball, roll the ball across the room and my dog stay on place. Like, have I taught that? Check. And you're practicing every day, upping the distraction level, taking the cot in the front yard or to the park, working on place and relaxing. You can also do it down, but place is much easier to teach, especially with a puppy. And then you have the expectation of them being able to do that with guests. So you're slowly upping, the distraction level, but you got to practice. You can't just expect it when you do your 15 minutes of training and then when a guest comes over. Training is lifestyle. It's lifestyle. All right. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. It's a little bit different, a little bit of a different vibe. Carrie says, oh, sorry, I'm fussing, but my back is bothering me for some reason. These are supposed to be supportive. I think it's bugging me. All right. Carrie says, what kinds of games or toys can I play with an 8-week-old Australian Labradoodle? Ooh, I like the Australian Labradoodles. Yeah, I like those. On my patio as I wait for his final shots. Okay. Final shots are quite a few weeks away, So I caution you to wait that long to expose him to the outside world. There's a lot of things you can be doing to get him out, especially in a safe, clean environment on concrete, like at the park. You can always wipe his paws. You can, put him take him to Home Depot in not a stroller. Don't get a stroller, but you can put him in a cart in a bag. Anyway, there's a lot of things you can do to get him out into the world. Don't just restrict him to the patio or you could potentially have a lot of behavioral issues. But anyway, let me answer your question. On the patio, I probably wouldn't be doing a lot of games, to be honest. I would probably want to just teach my basic obedience first and get that really clean, and then up the challenge of being on the patio with my basic obedience and someone walking by, or me saying hi to someone while working my puppy and they're doing a place calm down stay, that would be my focus. Now, if you want to play, you just play with a toy. Don't make it complicated. You don't need crazy games and you don't need puzzles. You don't need anything like that. Just teach, toy, tug and drop it. Not throw, because you got a patio. You could throw a little bit in the house, but I wouldn't go too crazy. You want to teach it as tug, 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 tug. Freeze, drop it. Teach, drop it. Good. Sit, break, give it right back. You want to teach that relationship. Tap into that hunting part of the breed and teach them, what to do with their mouths, when to tug, when to drop it. That would be my focus, okay, when it comes to a game. Now, if you have multiple people, you can do the come game, or you could do searching for food, all of those things. But that's not something I would do with an 8-week-old puppy, because you're basically teaching a lot of excitement when it comes to the multiple people game, or a little bit too much freedom and just kind of hanging out and searching for things and tuning you out. The first thing you want to focus on is all the obedience and the tug games to tune you in, to make you their number one focus. That's what you're training. For something fun, I would do resiliency training. I would go grab a rolled up towel and a plastic bottom to a container and go buy some bubble wrap, that pops. And I would be using food and having him go over things, under things. You got a stool, under things, through things, get an old box and cut stuff off. It's still very oriented to you guiding him through difficult obstacles. That's how you build resiliency. Those are the things that would be my focus. I just gave you a bunch of gold right there. So everybody can listen to that and hold on to that. Natalie says, my 18-week-old Wheaton Terrier barks loudly in his pen when he can see my kids. If he's on the leash, he's doing fine. Should we just ignore him and not acknowledge the behavior? Okay. Sometimes ignoring, what's the age? Oh no, 18 weeks old, you do not want to ignore. If you had an 8, 9, maybe 10-week-old puppy, maybe we would ignore it if they're not physically touching the fence. 18 weeks old, absolutely not. And the reason why is they're about to get into adolescence. And take your attention away, that no longer works. It just doesn't at that age, because he's starting to become, who he's going to become. You need to address arousal. You need to be able to stop arousal. But in a playpen with the kids around, it might be too much to ask. In fact, I would say it is too much to ask. So what I would do is I want the playpen to only signify calm. And since the puppy is struggling with that, I would only have him in the playpen when the kids are at school or they're sitting doing their homework at the table or something like that where they're calm. And I would just do more crating if I couldn't have the puppy out tethered to me on leash. Why tethered to me? Because I know you said when he's on leash, he's fine, but the next potential bad habit is him dragging around a leash, which is good. It's really good, everybody. But now he's chasing the kids, and the kids pet him, and then they sit down, but they don't want the dog anymore because they're doing something or watching something, and the dog is nipping them, biting them, wanting to do stuff, and then getting aroused and has nowhere to put their arousal. No one's helping the puppy, So if your kids are older, train your kids how to manage energy and look at the type of excitement they're creating in the puppy. You can do that pretty young with kids, but that's also a lot of work in and of itself. So when you don't have time to do that, that puppy's tethered to you, so you can control the puppy right there in the moment, or just do more crate time. It's totally okay. As long as you're fulfilling your puppy energy and mental needs, do more crate time. Totally fine. Okay. Instagram's doing something weird because there's a call coming through. Hopefully it's not too off. There we go. Okay. So, sorry, I'm just waiting TikTok because Instagram's being weird. Okay, there we go. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me just make sure that answers your question, because that threw me off, because it's someone that we know that called in, and yeah, okay. Oh, do we ignore him? Okay, yeah, so I already addressed that. Okay, I think we're good. And that's really common too, by the way. A lot of times puppies can't handle being in a playpen when there's activity going around. There's a lot of puppies that can't handle that, and that's perfectly okay. They don't have the impulse control yet. The worst thing you can do is keep them in the playpen and they're jumping or barking, and there's just nobody helping them regulate their emotion. So it's better if you can't work with them in the moment or before that moment escalates to be so big. It is better to crate them and prevent it from happening. It's the same with, this woman has kids. It's the same with raising your kids, right? You would much rather, obviously we don't want to be helicopter parents, but when it comes to the important things, you do want to prevent a lot of bad habits, not have to be on the back end and trying to figure out how to get your kid out of this horrible habit that they've learned or picked up somewhere, Sorry, I just had a thought of a 6-year-old that I know that's cursing like crazy because they had access to social media for a few weeks and the parents didn't realize it. And I was well, that's a perfect situation. You do not want to be trying to teach the 6-7-year-old not to curse. You want to prevent it from happening. This is how puppy raising is, guys. You are trying to give them good experiences with people. You don't want to go to the dog park because you want them to have good experiences with dogs that so you want to get information up front. It's actually better for them to just not be introduced to dogs rather than just go to a dog park and it just be good luck, right? And so all of these things I just want you to keep in mind when it comes to puppy training. Prevention, what is that old saying? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of something, all right? You know what I'm saying. I'm trying to do all the sayings here, and I'm failing miserably. Okay, I think I'm done with that. I'm going to move on to one of these. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a hard one too. Clara Charles Long says, that's a good strong name. 13-week-old Cavapoo bites out of frustration. So this is a baby. 13-week-old Cavapoo bites out of frustration when being picked up or cleaned. Please help. Okay. I do want to say that we go over desensitizing, grooming, touching, handling in depth in our online school, which you can check out at thepuppyacademy.com. But all those keywords I said are also things that you can look up. Desensitizing, handling, grooming. Okay. This is a baby. So the reason that's important is the baby should be on leash, but we're not doing any corrections right now. In fact, I'd say it would be really important for 2 weeks to work this dog under threshold. Now, sometimes that's not doable. Sometimes dogs are really gunning for us and you can't work under threshold. You have to address it. But I'd say a 13-week-old puppy, you should be able to find a way. I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake I see when it comes to grooming and handling puppies. First of all, you want to have a lot of food drive. If you don't have a lot of food drive, that has to be addressed first. That can be within a day or two of just offering meals by hand. And if they don't take it, then they don't get the meal. And what you're going to do, this is my puppy. It's a puppy, okay? It's a puppy. What you're going to do with your puppy is you're just going to sit there with your puppy nice and calmly. They're on leash. You're not using the leash. It's just there so they don't run off. Or if they do get aggressive, you can just use a little leash pressure to calm them back down. And you just go, you need a marker word, yes or good, or a clicker. Good food, good food, good food. 5 times for doing nothing but sitting there staring at you, right? Then you're going to scratch them under the chin. Good food, good food. Then you're going to take your hand and go under their rib cage and remove it. Good food, good food, good food. 3 times. Slowly, nice and calmly. I'm rushing a little. Then you're going to put your hand under the rib cage, lift up. Good. Say good. Move it. Food. Good food. Good food. Then lift a little more. Good food, good food. Then do something else. Pet them behind the ear. Good food, good food, good food. Then take your tissue. Show them the tissue or the wet wipe. Good food, good food. Grab their face, because that's how it is a lot of times with those types of dogs. Let go. Good food, good food. Grab their face and keep holding. Good food. Good. Can they chew the food with you holding their face? I don't know if a lot of you guys know, a lot of breeds, you have to grab. You have to grab to clean, grab fur, things like that, to trim, stuff like that. With labs, you're like, what is she talking about? But the fluffier breeds, that's usually how you have to do it. And grab again. Pick up the tissue, wipe, drop it. Good food, good food, good food. So my point is you're slowly building him up and desensitizing. The biggest mistake I see, let's see, this is like, part of the body that you're trying to like check out, Maybe you got a burr or something like that, or a leaf or something you're trying to get out of the fur. And if you just go and grab it and pull it off, they're like, whoa, what was that? Right? So you need to go in, and if they look at your hand that's touching them, if they look at your hand, you need to freeze. Say good. See if they'll turn their head to give food. Why do you need to do that? Because what I usually see is people they'll turn and like nibble on the hand. They're just a little nervous. They'll lick too. They'll lick nervously because they're just unsure. What are you doing? What are you doing to my ear? What are you doing to my behind? And people will say no or try to give food, but keep going. Keep moving that hand and that seems really disrespectful to the dog. It's like, but you're still pressuring me. Like, just let me breathe for a second. So if I go up to that ear and the dog is like, what are you doing? I freeze my hand. I don't move it anymore. Good food. Good food. They're more relaxed. Then I open the ear up, right? Then they look at me again. I freeze. Good food, good food. And then maybe that's all I can do. But I do that 3, 4, 5 times and they get more relaxed. Now I can look in the ear. So that's the big thing is you gotta pause when the dog looks at your hand. What are you doing back there? You have to pause, use food, slowly build that up. With a small puppy, you might need 2 people. You might need someone like holding the puppy and then you doing the other stuff. All right, that is all the time we have. And it was so good to see you today. And I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
We hope you found some advice that you can use to help make puppyhood a little easier.
Don't forget to join us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Instagram or TikTok at The Puppy Academy.
This is where you can get a chance to ask your burning questions in real time. And if you want even more puppy guidance, visit our website at thepuppyacademy.com for info on joining our online puppy school.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review.
These reviews let more people find us and supports us on our mission to help as many puppy parents as possible around the globe.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.